people in the back. And everyone knows what burning oil is. Just put them above, dump them on people's heads. There's a lot more types of siege equipment, but that's much more of like a specialty thing. I would definitely say try and get
catapults.
Catapults are kind of a middle ground between ballista and trebuchet.
So burning oil.
There's a meat bag catapult and like oil stuff and all that. I'd say don't worry about those right now. Just try and get like these core siege equipment down when we're doing Cyrodiil.
I do have a shock lancer.
Hey, definitely use that. If you got that special stuff, use it. Oh, also when we do dolmens, or you can buy them from guild traders, the cold fire siege equipment does like 4 times the damage that a regular one does to players specifically.
So with the burning oil, I'm sorry, do I have a question about burning oil?
Yep.
Is it helpful to place down more than one and then go between them, or just?
Oh yeah,
stay
100%.
Okay.
No, yeah, cool. Definitely place as many as you can. I placed 4 before while we were being sieged in like outposts above the door and just ran like around them as fast as I can.
Yeah, because I know it takes time for them to.
Yep. I'd say probably maybe you can do 3 for the cooldown resets. But yeah, you can place multiples and just keep running back and forth. Definitely doesn't have to be one person, one siege equipment.
Yeah, I think I saw you doing that. Took me a minute to figure out what you were doing last Saturday, and I said, "Are you using these?" And you said, "Yes."
I'm using all of them. Get your own.
Yeah, and I was like, "What?"
Yep. So yeah, you can definitely make use of multiple siege equipment, which is the best way to do it, especially when we're in a small group hitting a keep. The more siege we have, the faster we're hitting the door, the less time they have to see what we're doing and respond.
Right.
Because yeah, there are a few times where we took a little bit too long to get through the door, and then suddenly there were 20 yellows because someone in their alliance put in zone chat, "Hey, there's blues hitting this keep." Okay, I think that covers siege equipment, unless anyone has any questions specifically. But I will say, like the specialty siege equipment, like meat bag catapults, and things like that.
Mentions regular stone trebuchets.
So regular stone trebuchets, I wouldn't use them. The only time I would use them is if we have so many blues around that we have so many of these regular ballistas that you physically can't fit any closer anymore. Which is unusual.
Are they any better at breaking down walls than anything else?
They probably do more. So I'd say they I don't know the exact number. I think they do 4,000 damage, but you do 4,000 damage with those, and you do 2,000 with a regular ballista, and these shoot 3 times faster. So you technically do more damage over time with regular ballistas. Yeah, so meat bags are good for defending and things like that. But I still say get used to using these basic ones. Don't worry about like the advanced stuff yet. That requires a lot more planning than I think we're gonna be able to do right now until we all get really a lot more experience in PvP. Get the fundamentals down first. We'll go from there. The only other thing I have for Cyrodiil is stay on crown. I know we say it every time, but there's always people arranging ahead of crown when we're respawning. Don't do that. Stay on crown.
Yeah, I have a tendency to do that. Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. Like if we trickle in 1 and 2, yeah, don't follow me off cliffs. That goes without saying. I feel like everyone gets the user agreement brief when they join the guild. Don't follow Urban off cliffs. But yeah, try and stay on crown. If you're ranging ahead of crown, like if you're doing it to scout and like report back, if we need that, we don't always need that. So don't assume that's always okay. Yeah, if you're ranging 1 and 2 ahead of the crown, then we're not hitting them as a group, and if we're not hitting them as a group, then it's people get picked off. Like if those first 2 people die, and then the other 4 roll up behind them, and then it's 4v6 because the other 2 were ahead, then we're already at a disadvantage. So I feel like everyone gets the idea behind that, but stay on crown. Actually, that's all. That's all for Cyrodiil. I just wanted to cover those like basics again, just in case anyone had any questions on siege equipment. Also, I know camps are expensive, so I'm not gonna say everyone have camps on them, but
I picked up one.
yeah, it's not a bad
already-
idea to have a few camps in case you're the last person alive on like a really important siege.
Yeah,
We couldn't keep it on me.
that's happened to me a number of
Well,
times.
I've gotten stuff where I've been far behind, and then I'm coming up at the last minute. And if I had one, I could have put it down, but
Yeah,
Well, I
so
had
I
one
do
too,
recommend having them, but they're 20,000 AP a piece, so I'm not gonna say everyone should have them, but highly recommend. All right, moving over here. Not that the change of venue really matters, but break in content from Cyrodiil straight into PvP builds and practice. So there's a few things I want to cover. As Mauloch pointed out, in no CP PvP, you're a lot squishier by default. You're going to be missing a lot of recovery, and you're going to be doing a little bit less damage just based on the CP bonuses. So what that means is if you're building a traditional, you're trying to kill people, even if you have more of a support build, this is true, you generally want at least 25,000 health when you're in Cyrodiil. That's like absolute minimum. More higher than that is better. That is because, as you might have noticed, people do a lot of damage in PvP, and if you have less than that, you're doing yourself a disservice, basically. Unless there are exceptions. If you're a Magicka user, yeah, they can stack shields. Yeah, that's 25,000 after the health bonus. Zen. I think it's like 5k, 4k. Which will then be buffed a little bit more if you have all your Undaunted passives. Also, those with new characters, I highly recommend grinding out those Undaunted ranks, which we can probably put something together as a guild and start running those dailies again.
yeah, I'd like to do running some Undaunted.
Yep.
Just when
Oh yeah,
usually-
there's an event coming up also.
Yeah,
We'll probably like go into overdrive, especially when that hits.
I'm usually on when everyone else is at work, so
Yeah, I know.
But 25,000 health is recommended. There's a few situations where you can get away with less of that, especially if you have like a ganking build, which I don't think any of us specifically have.
No,
And healers may be able to get away with less than that, but even then, if you have less than that, you should be stacking damage shields to try and stay alive.
now can you get some of that from the right armor set?
Yes. So that kind of leads into the next point. Unless you have a Magicka build, you should be running heavy armor in PvP. Yes, you'll be losing out on some of that weapon damage. Yep. And a few important resource recovery things from medium. But once again, unless you're a ganking build, who is literally basically a Nightblade, unless you're a Nightblade or someone with invisibility potions, trying to do one of those things where you snipe a person and then run and hide.
Full build.
You should be running heavy armor. It gives you so many resistances, it increases your healing recovery, it increases your max health. It's just kind of what you need to do in order to survive in PvP, especially in no CP, where you're not getting those damage reductions.
So what about a magic build then? Because this guy's a magic build.
So if you're a Magicka build, so you can get away with light armor. The problem is you're gonna have to stack some insane damage shields or have lots of health in order to survive, and you're gonna be focusing on trying to run away from as many fights if anyone gets close to you.
sounds like the
That's what happened last Saturday.
So you could do heavy armor and do like seducers, which will help with your Magicka sustain a little bit because you'll be losing out on everything.
Weird.
It's a
Weird
craft
from Gnombra.
Oh, it's craftable from Stormhaven.
right?
There's also the weird set from Glenumbra, if you can farm those out.
Could you
Those
do
have high
a
pickup boosts.
like 5-piece heavy, 5-piece light?
No, because there's only 7 body armor pieces.
Oh,
But what you can do is that kind of leads to the next one. If you have your Undaunted ranks level up, you can do 5-1-1, which I'm pretty sure most people here have heard about before. But yeah, you do like 5 heavy, 1 medium, 1 light, and that gives you the most. That gives you 6% more of your max stats from Undaunted. Alternatively,
Yeah.
I would say in no CP, especially for the stamina characters, doing 5 and 2 is probably better because that will give like 5 heavy, 2 medium. That will give you a lot more resource recovery. If you feel like your resource recovery is fine and you're you don't need like the additional bonuses like sprinting or dodge rolling. Like someone's trying to assassinate me right now. Yeah, I'd recommend 5 heavy, 2 medium. Ah, God. It's giving me a heart attack.
A Joker.
Don't stand behind the teacher.
So yeah, 5 heavy, 2 medium for the stamina builds. Merothiel, I would try out doing 5 heavy and 2 light if you're doing a Magicka build.
That's what I was thinking.
There's a few ways you could do it. You could do the crafted seducers, because that does give you a lot. Or, as Burberry mentioned, EV is Eternal Vigor. You basically cannot go wrong in PvP having Eternal Vigor on your body pieces, because it's a heavy armor piece, but it gives you an insane amount of both Magicka and stamina recovery.
Eternal Vigor. Now, what is that?
That's an
That was
overworld
from the-
set from
That was from the Western. Yeah. If you check the Primal Guild Bank, you'll see a lot of.
Oh, okay.
Oh, cool.
So
Oh,
I
yeah.
basically
It's-
any Eternal Vigor, actually any of the Venomous Eternal Vigor or Winter Grasp or Winter whatever, I was sticking into the Primal Guild Bank in case someone needed it, if it was blue or better.
Sounds like I do.
Yeah,
I was
definitely.
planning on grabbing some of that with this character too once he hits 50, but
Yeah, especially after that event, like it's super populous right now. Like it's in all guild traders and guild banks. Like everyone has it, so it's not that hard to acquire the sets for that.
then you can always go kill more bosses or something.
Eternal Vigor, would that be good on pretty much any one of us?
Yes. So the only question is Merothiel's the Magicka build. Depending on how much stamina you use Merothiel, it might be better to go with Seducer, because Seducer is Magicka recovery, max Magicka, magic recovery, and reduce the cost of Magicka abilities by 10%.
Yeah.
That might offset losing your light armor, but it'll make you insanely more survivable in PvP.
Yeah, because that was actually getting really frustrating to me last week.
Yep.
I was.
Yeah,
I
25.
I couldn't get near the battering ram.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, especially with like how many ganking, like Night Blades and any ganking build using a bow and Venomous Smite is super popular right now.
Yeah.
So 25,000 health minimum suggested. Heavy armor, that should help everyone with their survivability quite a bit. The next part of that is what sets you pair with it to
So
make you more killy.
there's also the Weird's Tree Blessing from Glenumbra. That's Magicka recovery, spell damage, Magicka recovery, and then casting a Magicka ability, you remove all negative effects from yourself. This effect only happens every 15 seconds.
What are you
I will say there's
making a face?
a lot of skills you can use as a cleanse. So basically that's like a cleansing set. And there are a lot of skills you can use that are also cleansing things that don't take up an important 5 piece from an armor set.
Yeah.
It's
It's just another, and that's heavy. That's something you have to farm off of world bosses or delves or whatever. So
I got you. So yeah, like Zen pointed out, Purge from the support skill tree is a Magicka ability that cleanses yourself and your group, removing up to 3 negative effects from everyone within 18 meters.
I think I have that one.
It does cost 8,000 Magicka to cast, so that's where using light and using something that reduces Magicka cost is probably really important. Because that's definitely not scalable. That's use it once every like 10 seconds or something.
Then mention the endurance set.
Yeah, so the endurance set is really good for making yourself more tanky. The 2 trait in it gives you a health bonus that's slightly better than the normal armor set health bonus. I think normal armor gives you like 1,000 max health. Endurance gives you like 1,500. And what's the 3 trait? Endurance set. Yeah, and then the third trait is health recovery, which is also buffed a little bit. So it is really good to make your character more tanky. However, the slight issue with it is you miss out on another like one set item because you need to get 2 of them at least to make it useful. And what a lot of people are doing nowadays is they're using one piece of the trainee set, which is better because you get, if like Zen brought up, if you use a mythic item, you can use a one-piece trainee set to get a bunch of max health, which is also more than the standard amount, and then a mythic item paired with that, and then you're getting 2 one-piece items without wasting a slot, basically. Something to think about. I'm technically using a trainee belt right now, just because of the specific build I'm doing. I had 7 heavy armor on, and even in PvP when we're doing it, I can feel like I need more sustain. Okay, not getting too in the weeds with this, which I am fine helping anyone with their build, like specifically. But I just want to cover a few high points. So far, 25,000 health, recommended minimum. Eternal Vigor is really good. Highly recommend it for anyone. Then it's finding another set to pair with Eternal Vigor, which there are many options. It basically comes down to your playstyle. Me personally, I'm using 7th Legion right now, which is where every time I use an ability that increases my armor, like Dragon Knight's spiked armor, it gives me like 350 weapon damage and health recovery for 10 seconds. So that's what makes my character glow, and I just pop it every 10 seconds, which I'm doing anyways, because I need to keep my armor up. There's Stunes, which is really popular. If you pair that with Uppercut, actually,
Would Venomous be good? If you do Venomous weapons, amulets, and rings, like that's 5 slots right there.
Yep. Yeah, so Venomous is good, and actually I did use that paired with Eternal Vigor for a while. I have nothing negative to say about that, because proc sets are really good. They are, however, nerfing it a little bit in the next patch. It will still be good. It just won't be as insanely good as it is right now. Also, so if you use Stunes, which we have in the Guild Hall crafting stations, Stunes is really good because it gives you weapon damage and pen. I will say, I mean, obviously you want to get both of those as high as you can. But I personally, I feel like penetration is more important than weapon damage. Some people would disagree with me. There's benefits to both sides. Weapon damage increases your healing, which is a really big important for spamming vigor, which is an ability pretty much all toons should have, unless you're a magic healer. But yeah, Stunes is nice. Basically, you just uppercut someone twice, and then on that second uppercut, when you basically get an insane amount of additional penetration with Stunes. Ow, rude. But yeah, you can pretty much find whatever one you want to work with. Venomous Smite, pair it with that. That'll be good. Gives you a really good dot. On the subject of purges, Venomous Smite can be purged if you're running into a group that does have purges, because it's considered a negative effect. I'm trying to think of what other sets I could recommend. Spriggans isn't bad. It gives you a lot of penetration. I might think Stunes is better, just because it gives you weapon damage as well.
What about Hunding's Rage?
So Hunting's Rage is a really good middle set until you get something better. Because Hunting's Rage, it used to be good, but right now Hunting's Rage is kind of really showing its age. It's a very old set, and it's kind of like an entry-level set. There's usually better ones you can find. It's popular because it's easy, it's craftable, and it's easy to get. Yeah, Titanborn. Titanborn's one of those sets that I have a love-hate relationship with. It's a set that gets better the more health you're losing, and I don't like those sets because you have to be dying in order for it to be good. Same reason I want to love the Pariah set, which is on sale in the Golden this week. The more health you lose, the more armor you gain, but that means you're using a set that's only good when you're losing health, which isn't the goal. Just something to keep in mind. Yeah.
I wonder how those two would pair together.
You'd become really strong the lower your health gets. So here's the thing. The
Yeah.
no, they would be good, and literally you're more dangerous the more health you lose. But when you're low health, even with the extra prior armor, if someone has high pen, they're just gonna use an ultimate and execute, and you'll be dead there before you can make use of it, basically.
Yeah.
Or like reverse slash.
Yeah, reverse slash. So we'll get to that when I start getting to like the execute or like the abilities phase of this bootcamp. But I mean, I guess since we're talking about it right now, generally I recommend everyone have an execute, which is basically the same way it works in PvE. When you need to get someone down to like 25% health, you switch to using your execute. If she uses it on me right now, I'm losing like 6% of my max health. It's not really doing much, but yeah, the lower the health is, the more damage it will do eventually. So you basically fight until you get low health, then you switch to that. But we'll cover that in a little bit. I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, so if anyone needs any ideas for sets, there's a lot of good sets you can pair, and you can try them out, see which ones you like. If you wanted, just make sure you don't mess up your armor sets and do like 4 heavy, 1 light, 2 medium, or something weird like that if you're trying out different sets.
Sounds
And I will say, so like Eternal Vigor rings are super easy to get, but then you're giving up, quote unquote, 3 of your heavy pieces on your body. So just plan it out. I usually try and get whatever the easiest sets to acquire are for my weapons and jewelry, because they're really expensive to craft. Or farm if you're doing a not crafted set. There's a lot of good sets. maybe we can put out. I'm sure there's lists online. But we can also put out a list in like the help and advice channel of like good sets for stamina builds. Moving on a bit from builds, unless anyone has any questions on that side. There's also monster sets, but go for ones that do penetration and weapon damage, and if you have it, use Orcs. That's a good rule of thumb. Buzz, does anyone have any questions on sets in particular? Bueller?
I'm gonna go check something.
Bueller? Okay. Moving on.
Processing all the
Skills.
information.
Skills. That's
So-
actually the next thing that I wanted to look at.
Ew. So I'm gonna have to be kind of generic with skills because we all have different classes and different play styles and different builds. Zen, you're skipping ahead in the curriculum. We're talking about builds or abilities. Ignore Burberry, although that's not always a bad idea. But ignore Burberry right now. Hear the angry clicking of the mechanical keyboard. Okay, abilities. There are a few abilities that I highly recommend everyone has on their bar, especially if you're doing your typical stamina damage dealer. Mind you, you can build for support characters, but a support character should either also be tanky or a support character should also be killy. Having like a purely dedicated support character is just kind of inviting the enemy to kill you. At least when I'm in PvP, if I see someone who's doing nothing but healing, I'm going straight for them because they are my priority target. You kill them, and then suddenly their entire group's weaker, and typically they're a little squishier. Exactly. So yeah, you can't do damage if you're dead, and you can't heal if you're dead. So you definitely need a little bit of resistance and health. We're getting back onto armor sets and health. So abilities. Related to that, most classes have a source of major fortitude, which is the armor buff. I highly recommend that everyone has one of those on. For Dragon Knights, it's the spiked armor. For Wardens, I'm assuming that's whatever Burberry is doing over there.
Yeah, Ice Fortress.
It's...
Yeah, the mage
What
armor.
do you mean?
Armor?
What do you mean, Zen?
There's a mage armor in there somewhere. No, if you're going too fast.
Oh no, I'm not talking. Don't ever use the heavy armor like ability. That one will stop you. But every class has another source of major fortitude. Most classes have no source of major fortitude. Yeah, don't ever use the heavy armor ability. It will slow you down way too much.
Not in there.
There's
so
also Mighty
usually,
Cheeton.
yeah, if you don't have one, there's Mighty Cheeton. You just quote unquote be giving up your monster set. But I think there might actually be a
Bound armor.
class that doesn't have major fortitude. Templar, maybe? No, Templar has one.
Templar has one. Yeah.
What is it?
It's the rune.
Okay, I don't know all the classes, but all of your classes have a source of major fortitude. Highly recommend.
What's
It's-
major fortitude?
It's so there's usually a skill that provides it. Which class are you?
Sork.
Oh yeah, Sorks. I think
Crit Surge.
Hurricane.
Oh, Hurricane.
No,
Surge.
that's result.
Crit Surge?
No.
Crit Surge?
It's Hurricane, and then Crit Surge is
Yeah.
Brutality, right?
Yes.
Hurricane is resolve and expedition.
Is that the morph?
Hurricane, it's the stamina morph. Yeah.
So
Crit Surge is brutality and sorcery. Also, we heal from critting.
Hurricane. That's the lightning.
What's the one for Templar?
Burberry. I passed that one to you.
Oh, for Templar, it's the one that puts down a rune. I don't recall the name right off the top of my head. I'm sorry. It's Rune Focus.
I'll be getting that.
Okay, no, Hurricane also provides it. At least according to the online tooltip. On this forum, you gain major resolve and minor expedition, increasing your physical and spell resistance
Yeah,
by
you were
5,000.
saying endurance.
Yeah.
I was saying major endurance?
Yeah, you were saying endurance.
Whoops, ignore that. Major resolve.
Okay.
Yeah, so I highly recommend everyone have a source of major resolve on. Gives you 5,000 free more resistance, basically.
So I've got Hardened Ward and Boundless Storm.
And you are... Oh, Martha, you're a Sork?
Sork.
Hmm.
The Hardened Ward is protection granting a damage shield. And
Yeah,
then Boundless Storm is manifests as pure energy while zapping enemies. I'm also gaining major resolve.
Okay, yeah, that's the magic morph of the same one. Yep, same one. So, yeah, you do want to keep Boundless Storm up pretty much 100% of the time. There's a few add-ons you use, so if you're looking at my stream, I have an add-on that you can set a specific buff to appear on your screen and with a countdown timer of when it's going to expire. In my case, I actually set it to my 7th Legion set instead of Major Resolve, just because I need to use it every 10 seconds. But yeah, using add-ons to set reminders for yourself isn't a bad idea. Just make sure you don't let your buffs drop off accidentally when you're in the middle of trying to kill someone.
Right.
Is there an add-on for like a werewolf timer or something?
Like how much time you have left?
Yeah.
So
It doesn't show on the box.
it shows by default unless you have an add-on that changes it. It's usually under the stamina bar. There's a tiny bar that tells you how long you have left in werewolf form.
Oh.
I did not learn that until I had played this game for 5 years.
That is
But-
useful.
Yeah, usually underneath the stamina bar, I think, for werewolves, there will be one tiny little bar, and that tells you how much time you have left in your werewolf form.
But I think the idea with werewolf is you cast all your self buffs, you go into werewolf, you rip things apart until your buffs wear off, and then you go back to normal.
Yep.
Because
So that,
without those buffs, you're not as good. Those buffs are really to make the best, and
yeah,
the buffs are better than being a werewolf.
that is
but
true.
both
If you're going to be a werewolf in PvP, it's all about like Demon Drake said, like self-buffing yourself, transforming a werewolf, killing as many as you can while the buffs are active, and then forcing yourself out of werewolf form. Which seems counterintuitive, but you're a big target when you're a werewolf, especially if you're fighting a group. So, kill as many people as you can while your ult's up, and then get out of that as quickly as you can so you don't make yourself a target.
You're also
Is the proper way to do it.
transforming
Yeah.
because you're stuck in place and can't do anything while that's happening.
I think it might fear enemies around you, but once again, if you're fighting a big group, you're just making a big target, and the ones that aren't feared are going to go after you.
Exactly what I meant there. If your enemy is far enough away, they're not affected by it. And so they can rush in and attack you with something like critical charge or critical rush.
Yep.
And then kill you while you're transforming.
All right. So back to sets. So Major Resolve, highly recommend everyone has one. Another thing is you want to make sure you have a source of Major Brutality, because that's 20%, or Major Sorcery, also for Magicka users. Don't want to exclude the Magicka users in the Orc Stamina Guild. But yeah, have a source of those, because that's a free 20% more weapon damage. You don't want to be giving up that damage potential in PvP. There's a lot of sources of it. If you use a two-hander, there's a Rally or a Forward Momentum, which is a pretty good source of it. 20 seconds of Major Brutality. Most classes have a source of it as well. If you don't, hope that you have a DK in the group that has igneous weapons on, because he gives DKs can give the entire group Major Sorcery and Brutality for like 40 seconds, I think it lasts for. The problem is it costs Magicka, so not everyone runs that morph. And I use Rally instead, just because it gives me immunity to snares or Forward Momentum. So you kind of have to. Okay, so 50 seconds of Major Brutality. It's pretty useful. I just can't get it right now because I'm technically in duel. Yep. So I highly recommend everyone has your own source, because Zen's not always going to be around to give it to give you the buff. It's more of a nicety if he is there. Yeah.
He might be 5 yards out of range.
Yeah. Although I will say it does have a pretty big range as an ability. What is it? Igneous weapons, 36 meters. So it will usually catch you if you're near him. But it's not always gonna be the case when we're doing sieges and running around. He might be down, you might be down, and then you gotta give yourself the buff when you get back up. Besides those two, if you're a stamina build, I highly recommend Resolving Vigor. For self heals. Like, you definitely need self heals. You can't rely on a healer, especially in PvP. A healer is nice, but you should be able to take care of yourself otherwise. As I see most people using it, I'm sure everyone's aware of it. But yeah, Resolving Vigor is the morph that you want to use. Gives yourself an insane amount of heal. If you have a good class heal, you can also slot one of those. Like, it's not horrible to have two heals on you. DKs have Cauterize, which isn't the best heal in the world, but it does give you like an instant source of a pretty decent heal, and will heal yourself passively while you're fighting 3 more times after you use it. Nightblades have the morph. What is it? One of the morphs if you don't do the make yourself disappear thing. So Dragon Blood, it heals you based off of your missing health, which can be a lot if you had a lot of health to begin with, but it's only like proportional to your missing health, which kind of makes it eh. It does give you increased stamina recovery, but we have potions for those as well, and we'll get to potions at the end. So I don't hate Dragon Blood. I just don't slot it because I'm kind of tight on ability slots, and that's one of the things where, yeah, Dragon Knight specific, the Bloods, it's all right. I'm not gonna say I hate it, but there's a few other things you can use. I'd probably use Cauterize over Green Dragon Blood, personally, because it gives your group a heal and gives you a heal over time while you're fighting. But yeah, not to get bogged down in Dragon Knight specific stuff. Definitely Vigor. Have something else if you can. I also... Burberry, get back over. In addition, there's a few things I recommend also for the combat builds. Definitely have... So you either want a gap closer, or you want something that increases your speed enough that you don't need to gap close. So for example, if Brewer and I are fighting, and when you see us doing duels, like, I'll constantly be using Critical Rush or Stampede, whichever morph, to chase people down as they're trying to run away. You don't want to be the person who can't keep up. Now, there's going to be a few examples, like Orcs, that can just, like, bolt escape repeatedly and get away from you. It's kind of up to you on if you charge them, but things like Nightblades, if you're fighting, like, VTech, or someone's really good, sometimes they will appear for a second, And if you're close enough, you can get a good charge off on them and hit them before they stealth. Highly recommend it. You want to be mobile. You don't want to be the person like left in the dust when everyone's trying to chase those people down. But it's up to you if you want a gap closer or if you want something that increases your speed. In
both.
addition, oh sorry,
Why not both?
or both, yeah.
Well, you only got so much room though.
That's true. Sometimes you have to pick and choose. But yeah, if you can run after people quickly, that is nice. Just the problem with the running is, well, it uses stamina, and you don't recover stamina while you're sprinting.
I don't have any stamina.
Oh, side note, another reason why Eternal Vigor is nice is it's magic and stamina while you're 50% above health. So it does fix some bouncing issues if you use both. But yeah, in addition, I recommend, so have some way to catch up to the enemy is basically that summary. If you feel like you can fit both, go right ahead. If you're tight for slots, pick one. In addition, everyone should slot some sort of combat control. Whether it's a stun, whether it's a petrify. Zen, stop jumping ahead in the curriculum. So there's a lot. So there's this, there's like this warden one where if you're running in there, it snares you and slows you down, which is really good. You want to make the enemies be breaking free and trying to get around and spending their resources to get away from you. If you're a Dragon Knight, oh yeah, so there's that thing, which petrifies you. So anything that like makes them break free is kind of what you want. There's the Dragon Knight Petrify, which is the best CC in the game in my opinion.
I love that.
Because they have to break free and then they have to dodge roll to fully get out of it. Burberry hates this, but if you're a Dragon Knight, it's fantastic. So yeah, everyone should have some sort of CC. A hard CC is best, like petrify them, snare them, stun them, make them break free, put them on the defensive basically. If you're playing the defensive, like you're already giving them the advantage. So try and put them on the defensive, make them dodge roll, make them, move around, get out of it, spend their resources. All right. Highly recommend. Every class usually has one. If not, weapon abilities will usually have something as well. That brings us to consumables. There's a lot of good food and potions and things you can use. Potions are tricky because I don't like using consumables because they cost money and lots of ingredients. But if you have a source of, the ingredients, or you do crafting and you have a lot to spare, there's quite a few good ones you can use. My favorite is immovable potions that heal and restore stamina. Basically, what those ones do is I'm immune to knockback and disabling effects for 10 seconds. It heals me for 8,000 health and gives me 20% more health recovery, gives me 7,500 stamina, and 20% more endurance. Which is 20% stamina recovery. Yep. So you pop one of those, and if you have the passives for alchemy, which I also highly recommend you get, it's 100% uptime on the recovery portions. So, while that potion's active, you're getting 20% more health and stamina, or health and magic recovery, depending. Which, especially in no CP, sustain is good. We all want recovery. We don't want to be running out of resources or trying to kill people. There's a bunch of other ones that are useful, though. You don't have to use those ones. For this last PvP session, Burberry and I crafted potions that can detect invisible players. Highly recommend. It's not the same as Mage Light. It increases your self-detection by 20 meters for 15 seconds. Which I forget what your default detection range is. I think it's like 10 meters or something. But it actually has larger detection range than Mage Light gives you. And it just makes them show up. So it's pretty damn good, especially for Nightblades and Gankers that try and hide instantly.
Does it work on invisible players?
Yes. Basically, like, you're detected if you're within, like, 30 meters of the player. I don't think it... I haven't tested it. I don't think it makes them show up for everyone. No, it probably does. If one player sees them, I think the entire group can see them. I haven't actually tested that, or if it's only you can see them. But yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone can see them when they're detected. But yeah, there's a lot of options that you can pick. Oh wait, you're saying the detection doesn't work on people that are invisible? Hey Joe, you have invisibility, right? As a Nightblade?
What about the flare?
Joe, you suck. Yeah, there's a few things that will work. Is anyone else a Nightblade here, or has a potion of invisibility? You
I
could
have a
test it.
spell. I have a couple of spells. I have Mage Light and I have Flare.
That's true. Joe,
Illuminating
do you
flare.
Joe, did you morph that ability? Here, let me go.
I mean, someone could
craft one quick.
make a step of invisibility.
Yep,
We have an alchemy table up here. Someone could quickly make a potion.
it's true. Oh, Joe's logging off. Joe, I'm just making a potion. Come back. Where is it? Invisible. Invisible. I don't want to use drag file.
Still, so I wouldn't be able to remember off the top of my head
I mean,
what does
no.
what. So I did find out recently that the new Greymore alchemy ingredients, the blood clot, the
Everyone come back.
and Char's egg, they have a negative effect that reduces, it drains ultimate,
Mhm.
which seemed like it could be interesting, but
Joe, we already have the thing sorted out. Get over here. Where'd you go? Joe, where'd you go? I miss you so. Seems like it's been forever. You've been gone. Don't make me sing the song.
Okay,
think Joe's feeling out of
I
place
can't
in the
run by
wild
dummies
forest.
when I'm got my storm aura going.
Remember, this will only work for us anyways, because everyone else can see you during the duel.
It's true.
Berber, use your invisibility potion. And then crouch.
And then crouch. Okay.
Yep, nope, I see her. So yeah, even invisibility, the potion will see through it. So yeah, I highly recommend if you don't. So if you want to use a ability slot for it, you can use Mage Light, which will also have a bunch of different bonuses for Mage's Guild. So it's not a bad idea to use Mage Light, or Hunter's Mark, or Revealing Flare. Oh, hi Joe. I'm on potion cooldown. Here, I'll test it with you too.
Yeah, one of the guides I said I recommends
No.
using Camouflage Hunter, which is the morph of Hunter Mark.
Hang on, Joe. All right, there we go. You're invisible. I have 1 second. Yep, see, I see him. Okay, so yeah, even invisible people, highly recommend having potions or some way to detect them because they're annoying. I mean, the entire group doesn't need to, but everyone can slot potions. That's not hard. No, Zen, it was a good point to bring up. I actually did not know for 100%, so it's good that we tested, and now everyone knows. So thank you for bringing it up. We're all smarter because of it. Knowing is half the battle.
I've been adjusting my skills while you were talking.
No worries, I can talk a lot. But hopefully some people
No,
are getting good information out of this.
I slotted some of the stuff you recommended, so
All right.
I'm trying to figure out how to slot it in a way that makes sense for my fingers.
Yeah. So typically people will do an offensive and defensive bar. It doesn't have to be all offense and all defensive. For example, my defensive bar, which is my sword and board, has my armor on it, my heal, but I also have like my dot and my dragon knight, venomous claw.
Yeah, so I just did the back bar has got several healing things, my healing staff, and speed maneuver. This one.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ways to do it. Just sort it out to kind of what works for you and what ability slots you use. I mean, I have a controller, so it's a little bit different. Besides Mauloch, I have
Well,
my buffs on the back bar and all my combat stuff on the face buttons, and it works alright for me. So yeah, that's potions. Lots of good useful potions. You can craft as many of them as you want, or as many of them as you'd like to use. Even use trash potions or tri-stat potions. Yeah, if you want to craft them, tri-stat potions, you can't go wrong with it. Like, restore all your resources and 20% more resource recovery. But even trash potions are better than nothing. So make sure you got potions slotted. As far as health and food go, so so what I use personally is I use Dubious Comorn for my everyday and like just casual PvPing. It gives you max health, max stamina, and stamina recovery. And the health part is nice because it helps, get you up that 25k that you're trying to hit. However, the upgraded try-hard sweaty version of that is Artaeum Takeaway Broth, which is a little bit better of everything, but also gives you health recovery. And health recovery is huge in PvP. It is much, super useful. So definitely do not discount health recovery. Oh, sorry, what was that?
Pickled fishbowl.
That's the magic.
Yep. Yeah, there's a few Magicka versions that are the same. If you can find a Magicka one that's Magicka health and Magicka recovery, yeah, it's essentially the same thing. Highly recommend. Especially if it helps you get up to your 25k minimum health.
I usually just use the crown meals.
Or crown meals.
'Cause I have a bunch of those just from the daily login.
The only thing with those is they don't give you recovery, which is kind of a bit important in PvP especially. But if you find that you can use those and your sustain is still good, and you're not running out of health or resources in fights, then yeah, those are perfectly fine. It's all about kind of building towards what you can fit in your build.
Yeah.
Going back to sets for a little bit, because I realized that talking about armor traits would have been really good to include when we were talking about sets and gear. So previously, prior to Greymoor, the conventional wisdom was put everything in Impen and call it a day, because Impen was super useful. They changed it a little bit, so now everyone has more base critical resistance, and Impen gives you less. So what you want to do is pick 3 or 4 body pieces and put Impen on those, and then everything else should be probably either infused or divines, or you can make your chest reinforced if you want the extra armor, or you can make more reinforced if you want the extra armor. But
Guides are showing a lot of well fitted.
So
oh yeah, that was the other one. Well fitted isn't bad either.
Penetrable on 3, you said?
Yes, so 3 or 4. You want them to be the small, quote-unquote, armor pieces. Sturdy if you're doing a lot of blocking, but typically if you're blocking, you're not killing things, and you're on the defensive. And you kind of want to be on the offensive to make them... You want them to use sturdy. You want them to be blocking.
Like impenetrable on a bunch and then divines and...
I will say there are some really good players that make some tanky characters that can also kill that I'm sure are using sturdy, but like general wisdom, so yeah, general wisdom is you probably want to be using probably well fitted before sturdy, I'd say. Because well fitted helps you chase people down, helps you retain stamina when you're sprinting, and also lets you dodge roll, which people are trying to CC you. Dodge rolling is important. If I'm remembering what well fitted does accurately.
Auxiliary traits and Nurncrocs.
So I'll get those in a second. Good point. If you're chasing, you're doing things right, because that means cowardly people are running away from you because they're scared of you. So yeah, so you could probably get away with minimum 3 Impen, because that still gives you a good amount of crit resistance. Crit builds in PvP go in circles. Like, everyone wears Impen, so no one does crit builds, and no one does crit builds, so everyone stops wearing Impen. But then no one's wearing Impen, so people start doing crit builds again. Just put 3 Impen on, call it a day. 4 if you'd like. It just reduces the crit damage you're taking. well fitted is good. You could probably do 3 in pen, 2 or 1 well fitted. But on your major body pieces, which are your legs, chest, and head, you usually want something that can make use of those. I recommend infused and prismatic enchantments.
What about belts?
Sorry.
Belts?
Oh, belts. So that's another small piece. So you want that in either in pen or well fitted. You could use divines. I'm not a huge fan of divines in PvP personally, but I know some people are. And that can, buff whatever Mundus you pick, which is something I glossed over, but we'll get to Munduses. It's the last bullet point on my thing. Jewelry. So, unless you're doing a max Magicka DPS, which I don't believe any of us are, using infused is better than stamina or Magicka max traits. So you can never go wrong if you switch to infused. That being said, as far as damage goes, you can use Bloodthirsty, but the way the math works out, infused is better than Bloodthirsty until the enemy is below 60%, and then Bloodthirsty is better. What I have right now on my build is 2 infused, 1 Bloodthirsty. If you find you're not doing enough damage, like to even get them below 60%, you could do 3 infused, so that gives you more damage when they're at max health, like more initial damage. But Bloodthirsty is better once you already get them wounded. I typically go with weapon damage enchantments on my jewelry, unless you find you have resource sustain issues, and then you could do one stamina recovery or magic recovery. Or if you're feeling frisky, you can use the new prismatic recovery, which is all 3 things just halved. But like I said, health recovery is good, so that's actually not it's not a horrible idea, especially if you use everything.
What's wrong with this stone over here?
That's the one you have.
Mm.
You can't interact with
What is it?
it.
What about the Nirncrux trait? Is that worth it on anything?
On armor?
Or weapons?
Armor, definitely not. Never ever consider using Nirn-honed armor. Or invigorating armor for that trait. Both those are absolutely worthless. The only very vague thing I could see Nirncrux being better on is if you wanted to use a light belt. It would give you more, I think, but even then, throw divines on it, it's a million times better. Or sturdy, or well-fitted, anything. Nirn-honed weapons. So, when you have all your buffs on, you probably want to be trying to reach above 3,000 weapon damage, minimum. That's it's even my weapon damage is kind of low, and I'm at about 3,400 right now. Those are the goals you're trying to get to. Especially if you... So you kind of want to find a balance between weapon damage and pen. I don't have a huge amount of pen, but I am using the Lover Stone as my Mundus to give me more penetration. Shut up, Joe. So yeah, you usually want to be trying to hit 3,000 weapon damage. If you're not getting up that high, you can try doing a few different things. You changing your jewelry enchantment, using the weapon damage Mundus. Yeah, but you won't be trying to get up to at least 3,000.
My God, my guy sucks.
And that's, mind you, if you're playing like a healer build, I mean, still spell damage will give you more healing. But yeah, I mean, same thing kind of applies to healer build. You still want to be killy in PvP, and just being full support, it's going to be rough.
Would you say that target resistance is?
Target resistance or target pen?
Both.
So resistance is kind of up to how tanky you want to make your character.
Okay.
With all buffs and on my shield, I'm at about 2,400 physical, 2,700 spell. But I built my character to be a little tankier. That's why I'm using reinforced on my heavy chest to give me a little bit of extra resistance, and all heavy armor. The heavy armor, 5 heavy armor really helps, especially with like the passives once you got fully leveled.
Might 23k for both resistances for spell and
Yeah, no, that'd be fine.
Stick
Like
roll.
you probably want it somewhere in the 20,000 with your 25,000 health, and that will give you a good amount of survivability in PvP.
And I still have 10 levels left, so I'm guessing that will. I'm only at 19k for health, but I'm guessing as I get those last 10 levels, that'll.
Yeah, no,
increase.
once you switch to 160 armor, I mean that's gonna give you more armor.
That
Like,
too.
yeah.
Where do you?
You might lose some health. I forget how exactly they calculate the under CP 160 or the under level 50 bonuses.
Where do
but
you?
yeah, I'd probably hit 160 before you start balancing too much, because things will change.
Where do you see your penetration damage?
So they don't, unfortunately, show that in an easy to find spot. You could try hitting a practice dummy, and then if you have combat metrics, you can look in there. Or you just have to go through and tally them all up manually. Yeah, because like for me, my like main sources of penetration are I'm using a Maelstrom Maul, which is giving me physical, or about 1,000 from that. The Lover Mundus is giving me like 4,000. Sharpened is giving me like another 2,500. Oh yeah, if you're using a two-hander, I would go with either. I mean, so between sword, axe, and maul, they all have their benefits. Maul is probably better for PvP because it lets you ignore 20% of the enemy's physical resistance, or 20% of their resistances, which is good against other tanky characters. You just get a little bit less mileage out of it against like light armor characters. But for medium and heavy, the maul is going to give you more damage. A sword, however, will increase your healing if you have your healing on your two-handed slot. An axe gives another dot bleed, which is nice and no CP, but it's 16% chance on every hit, so it's not always 100% uptime, potentially. And yeah, I recommend the maul personally. And then you can use Volendrung, and you know it's a maul, so it's accurate.
What is that?
Two-hander weapon.
Oh, Volund. Okay, the hammer you pick up.
Yeah.
Pass around. Okay.
I believe that's it for traits. So yeah, sharpened is probably best, but you could get away with Nernhoned if it's on like a healing bar, or if you have low weapon damage. As far as Munduses go, I personally would recommend either the Lover or the Warrior. The Lover giving you pen, which penetration is good. The Warrior will increase your weapon damage. If you somehow find you are perfectly killy without those, you could go for one of the recoveries. But yeah, personally, I do the Lover. The increased penetration from it is super useful. All the deeps. Get through all the armor. And that's actually all I have on my notes. Thank you, Zen. My wife would disagree, but thank you.